The official images for the Galaxy S24 Ultra as well as the S24 and S24 Plus have been leaked in all colorways, complete with specifications info, upgraded cooling solutions, and a sneak peek into more software features. What is going on, guys? Welcome to 5M Tech Daily, your source for daily tech news. Make sure you subscribe so you know what's going on in the world of tech. This video is loaded with all the latest info, so let's dive straight into it. First, we all know that Snapdragon 8 on the S24 lineup is exceptionally powerful. In fact, it even outperforms the latest S27 Pro chip on the iPhone 15 Pro Max by quite a margin in both GPU and CPU, despite being a 4nm chip. But you see, having a powerful chip is great, but it's useless without an efficient cooling system. If the cooling isn't up to par, the chip could throttle quickly during demanding tasks, impacting performance. To make sure this doesn't happen, S24 Ultra is going to be 6.8 inches, which we knew, 2600 nits of peak brightness, and come in 4 colors. Looks like gray, black, blue, and green, if I can see those colors. Little yellowish color. I guess it will have a 6.8 in 2K plus display. It'll have 200 megapixel main camera, up to 8K video, 100x space zoom. So if you curious if we're going to get 50x zoom or 100 on this one, it will be 100x space zoom you can do. RAM storage size is 12 gigs and ROM size is 256 and 512. It might not get a 1TB version on the S24 Ultra this year. We've got the charging 0 to 65% in 13 minutes, so it'll probably still just be the 45-watt charging on there. 5000 mAh battery made of titanium and the IP68 dust and water resistant built-in S Pen. Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 dynamic lock screen, smart keyboard, security and privacy protected by NOx. S24 Plus will have a 6.7 in 2K plus resolution display. All the phones actually have 2600 nits of brightness. If you get the 24 Ultra, 24 Plus, or the regular 24, have a 50 megapixel main, up to 8K video, 30x space zoom. That'll be the max. So max you be able to zoom in will be 30x on this 24 Plus. For telephoto, it's dual. You get 2x and 3x, 12 gigs of RAM, which is the same as the 24 Ultra. Same storage as well, 256 or 512. Same charging, 0 to 65% in 13 minutes. Capacity will be 4900 milliamps for the battery. Armor aluminum 2.0 body and IP68 dust and water resistance. Finally, and they comes in black. Looks like yellow, kind of a blue and gray. It's kind of hard to see the colors on there. I know they're kind of out there. And the opening, I've spoken about them too. Samsung is stepping up their game by increasing the size of the cooling pads on the S24 lineup. The vapor chamber cooling system on the S24 Ultra is a whopping 1.9 times bigger compared to the already sizable system on the S23 Ultra. The S24 Plus follows with a 1.6 times bigger vapor chamber, and the standard S24 has a 1.5 times larger vapor chamber compared to the S23. Unlike Apple, who stumbled with the cooling system on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, the phone tends to heat up even with simple tasks like using the camera for a few seconds. Fortunately, Samsung seems to have learned from this and is avoiding the same mistake. The cooling on the S23 Ultra was top-notch, and it looks like they're keeping it just as impressive in the S24 Ultra. Report also reveals some additional AI features, such as an improved search functionality where you'll be able to highlight any given item on an image and find additional information about it. The AI will also make photo editing much easier, so no problems if you don't know how to edit your photos. The phone will do it for you. There was also a bit of information that like official document that went out showing that the launch date would be on the 18th in like Europe because of the time change, or one of those countries, because I know that things, but it will still be in the 17th in America, so you're looking at January 17th for the actual launch of the Samsung Galaxy phones, definitely. Getting the Ultra for sure, going to get it in if there's a storage upgrade. I get it in 512. If there's not, I'll probably just grab the 256, and it's going to have 12 gigs of RAM. I don't have to worry about it having 8 gigs of RAM on that. The 24 Ultra, obviously the Exos version, you might get that in some versions of the phone have be the 24 Plus or just the 24, but in America everybody will get the 8 Gen 3, and a lot of other places you'll still get the 8 Gen 3, so stop official. So thanks for watching, guys. If the microphone sounded a little weird, it's because I forgot to charge it. Thanks, we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.